to sort of scroll through and look at these graphical tropical weather outlooks. Now I'm going to show you how to focus on a particular storm. And one of the things I told you not to do in the last video is don't click directly on the storm symbol, because chances are that's going to take you to a broken link. So instead, what I'm going to have you do is we're going to go back up to Archives, just like we did initially. This time we're going to click on Tropical Cyclone Advisories. And what this takes you to is a list of advisory archives that were issued for individual storms. And this particular list right now is for 2018. So this is for 2018. This is right now, as of when I'm recording this video. There have been 3 storms in the Atlantic and 9 in the Pacific. And if you click on any one of these, it takes you to all the information about that particular storm. But since we're looking at a 2017 occurrence, we're not going to look at the 2018 stuff. Let's actually go to 2017. To do that, right below this 2018 title archive, you have these links that each have a different year on them. Let's click on the 2017 link, and now we are in the 2017 archive page. And what we're going to do, since we're looking at Hurricane Harvey, we're going to click on Hurricane Harvey. And what you see here is you see this list of all of this archived information. And there are different things that you have here. So, and this is basically like a table. So in this leftmost column, you have forecast advisories. In the second column, you have public advisories, discussions, and wind speed probabilities. And then under each one of these, you have date and then time in universal time coordinates. We're not going to actually look at this, because if you click on one of these, it just gives you a bunch of text information. And if you're like me, reading is your least favorite thing to do. That's why I majored in science. I'm just kidding. But instead, what we're going to look at is we're actually going to look at the graphics archive. So right below Hurricane Harvey Advisory Archive, there's this graphics archive that you can click on. And what it takes you to is it takes you to an animation showing you all the different advisories that were issued for this particular storm. And you can see that here. So basically, it's just like, it's a long animation, just taking you one advisory to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and so on. Well, what I'm going to have you do is, rather than looking at every single one of these animations and watching how it's progressed, I'm going to have you stop and focus on 2 individual advisories. The first thing I want you to do is go over to this menu up here with these different links and click on 3-day with line. And that's going to load a new set of archives. That's going to load a new set of maps. And then click on stop. It may take a click or 2 to actually get it to stop. That was one frustration that I noticed as I was looking at this. But it will eventually stop. Yay. And when it does, it freezes on one individual map. Now, this isn't the map I'm going to have you look at, but let me talk a little bit about some of the features on this map right now, because this has a plethora of information that I want you to know about. Okay, so let's talk about it. So first, obviously the map here has the southern United States, Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic Ocean, over here's the Pacific. You have your latitude and longitude grid right here, which is what we did a little bit in Module 6 when we looked at El Nino and La Nina. I had you play around a little bit with the lat-long grid. So that's what we have here. And below this is a plethora of information that you need to know about this particular storm. The first thing you see is in the upper left hand of this panel is the title of the storm. And here it says Tropical Depression Harvey. This first portion tells you the intensity of the storm. Right now, the storm is a tropical depression. And then right here is the name of the storm. This storm's name is Harvey. So right now we're talking about Tropical Depression Harvey. Right below that is the day, the date, and then below that is the time, and then the number of the advisory. So this advisory was issued for Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017, 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and it's Intermediate Advisory 12A. And then below that is the name of the issuing agency, which isn't going to change in our case. In our case, it's National Hurricane Center. Then in this middle, we have current information, and then this weird looking orange dot, this orange circle with a dot in the middle. This actually indicates the current location on the map of the storm. So this is where the storm is currently located. Below that is the latitude and longitude coordinates. So the storm is currently located at 21.5 north of the equator, 92.5 west of the prime meridian. So if you remember lat-lon from Module 6, this is just those coordinates. If you feel a little rusty with it, you'll be okay, but if you really want to, go back to Module 6 and review what we did there. Beneath that is the maximum sustained wind speed of the storm. So this is where the strongest winds are. And right now the maximum sustained winds are 35 miles per hour. And then below that is what direction and how fast the storm is moving. Now this is different from the wind speed. The wind speed tells you how fast the winds are blowing. Movement tells you where is the storm itself traveling. So those are two different things. And in this case, the storm is currently stationary. That means it's not moving. The next thing you'll see over here is a little bit of useful information to help decode the map. So now let's actually talk about the map. So I've already mentioned that this orange circle with the dot in the middle, that tells you the current position of the storm. And then coming out of that, you have this line, and then at the end of the line you have a time. This is 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So this is the storm's current location as of 1 p.m. on Wednesday. The next thing you'll notice is this line, this bold black line with these big dots sticking out. This line indicates the forecast track of the storm. And then each one of these dots tells us information about the position of the storm and the intensity of the storm. So right now, 1 p.m. Wednesday, it's a tropical depression. If we were to travel along this line, and let's travel here to 7 a.m. Thursday. What this is showing is at 7 a.m. on Thursday, this storm system, this cyclone, is forecast to be here, and the letter in the middle tells us how strong it's forecast to be. If there's a D in the middle, it means depression. That represents wind speeds below 39 miles per hour. If it's an S, that represents storm, wind speeds between 39 and 73 miles per hour. If it's an H, that represents hurricane. Wind speeds there are between 74 and 110 miles per hour. And then M represents major hurricane, wind speeds greater than 110 miles per hour. And based on this, 7 a.m. on Thursday, the storm is forecast to be a tropical storm. And we'll actually look at 7 a.m. on Thursday in a few moments, and I'll kind of tell you what's happening there. The last thing that I want to show, actually two more things, I lied. Two more things I want to show you. First is this white, it looks like a cone sticking out from the line. This represents what's called the cone of uncertainty. Remember, weather forecasts are never 100% accurate. Weather forecasting is an imperfect science. We can make predictions, but those predictions are going to be off by some degree. That's what this white cone of uncertainty represents. This represents the forecasted error, meaning that the storm at this particular time, so let's go back to 7 p.m. on Thursday, 7 a.m. on Thursday, it could be anywhere within this section of the cone. So it could be a little bit to the left, or it could be a little bit to the right. And what you notice is the further out in time you go, the wider the cone becomes. And that's just a natural, normal thing with weather forecasting. The closer you are to the current time, the more accurate the forecast will be. Further out in time you go, the less accurate the forecast will be. The last thing I want to show you is if you notice, along the coastline here, there are these different colored shadings. Well, these different colored shadings indicate the presence of either a hurricane watch, warning, tropical storm watch, tropical storm warning, and you can actually find out what is currently issued by looking down here at this legend that shows you what's currently happening. So if you take a look, right now we have a tropical storm watch issued for northern Mexico and then right at the southern tip of Texas. Then along central Texas, almost all of central Texas, we have this pink shading. This represents a hurricane watch. And then a little bit further closer to eastern Texas, you have this yellow shading again. That again means a tropical storm watch. And so this is just indicating to you the different watches and warnings that are issued. If there was a warning issued, it would either be in red for hurricane or blue for tropical storm. So we'll get to those in a little bit. Now, one of the things I'm actually going to have you do is, right now we're looking at 1 p.m. Central Daylight Time on Wednesday. I'm going to have you toggle ahead and look at another map in a few moments. In order to toggle ahead, all you have to do is go on this right arrow pointy thing. It kind of looks like the right bracket that you see on your keyboard, and click. And that takes you to the next advisory. What I'm going to do right now is, I told you, okay, we predicted that the storm is going to be a tropical storm by 7 a.m. on Thursday. So let's actually toggle ahead to 7 a.m. on Thursday. How will we know if we're at 7 a.m. on Thursday? We're going to look down here at the date and time. So let's toggle ahead until we're at 7 a.m. on Thursday. Okay, so now we're 4 p.m. on Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, 10 p.m. on Wednesday, 1 a.m. on Thursday, 4 a.m. on Thursday, and 7 a.m. on Thursday. So now we're at 7 a.m. on Thursday. So we've toggled ahead to 7 a.m. on Thursday. And keep toggling until you reach the date and time that you need to reach. And here's what we have. So compared to our previous advisory, 1 p.m. on Wednesday, what we have now is we have a tropical storm. This advisory was issued on August 24th at 7 a.m. The current information, this is where the storm is located. The longitude and latitude, the maximum sustained winds, they're now up to 60 miles per hour. So they're between 39 and 73. So the previous forecast that we were looking at did verify. It's now a tropical storm. And the storm is moving north-northwest. That represents more north than northwest at 10 miles per hour. So the wind speeds inside the storm are 60 miles per hour, and the movement is north-northwest at 10 miles per hour. Okay? And then again, this line represents the forecast track of the storm, and then these dots represent the forecast position and intensity of the storm at a given point. So if we were to look at, say, 1 p.m. on Friday. So 1 p.m. on Friday. At 1 p.m. on Friday, the storm is forecast to be a hurricane now. So now the storm is forecast to be a hurricane at 1 p.m. on Friday. If you want to know if that forecast verifies or not, keep toggling ahead until you're at 1 p.m. on Friday. Then see what happens. You'll actually do that in this week's exercise, in this module exercise. But all the information and where to find it is still the same. So the current location, that's the orange circle with the dot in the middle. The forecast positions and intensities are here with these dots with the letters in them. And then the cone of uncertainty is the white area surrounding the forecast track. And then the watches and warnings are the shadings right along the coastline. So this is pretty much all that you need for this module. Just answer the questions based on this. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So that's it for now. Good luck as you're working on this. Really, the purpose of this module is I just want to give you a chance, or I want you to familiarize yourself a little bit with the National Hurricane Center site. This is where all the valuable hurricane information that we get comes from. So these are the head honchos when it comes to hurricanes here in the United States. So definitely a very valuable tool to have. So that's it for now. Hopefully this helps clarify things up a little bit. And thank you for watching.